Today I'm presenting a project that is coming from 4 years of development for the software, for the entire concept. But essentially what Leonardo Render wants to make is to bring a revolution in the CGI industry. And it's not only that we want to bring it, it's already happening because we already have clients running this product. But what is that? And what kind of problem are we trying to solve here? The problem of the CGI industry, computer-generated imagery, is that CGI is everywhere. Computer-generated images are everywhere. On your phone, your tablet, TV, Hollywood movies, cartoons, gaming, everywhere. It's a very exciting industry. It's very creative, you know? It's very inspiring. But then all of the design, all of the creation of the creators goes to one final stage, which is the rendering. This rendering is transforming line drawings from a designer into photorealistic images. And it takes a lot of computing power, a lot of time, and this requires very heavy scheduling and planning and costs, electricity cost, and of course delay sometimes because let's say that you want to change something, you have to redo completely your entire process. So Leonardo Render wants to re-image the rendering. How? First, we need to understand what is the rendering. The rendering is the process that transforms the image A, just an example, to the image B. The wireframe, so the image A, so the designer literally goes and makes all these beautiful lines, and then you go to something like this with all the shaders and lighting and nice reflections. To go from A to B, there's a lot of computing power involved and a lot of time. So we got the problem. Rendering takes time. Now, how long it takes? What could be? One frame, which is one image, can take up to 24 hours to be rendered. One frame is one image. This means that a second of animation, 1 second of animation, can take 24 days to get done. A movie like Avatar, super, incredibly high resolution and work on CG and computer, can take 24 days to render a single second of movie. Of course, the production studios outsource the rendering power because otherwise it would be like years and years of rendering. So we got the problem, but trying to solve the problem, we need to know what creators want. And of course, the first thing that they want is speed. So speed up the rendering. Second thing, they want to work on their computer. So any solution that comes to your mind must consider that creators, designer, wants to work on their own tools. They don't like to work in remote on other computers like team viewing somewhere where you have, let's say, computing capabilities. Third thing, of course, intellectual property protected. They want to be protected. I don't want to share the next Batman or the next Star Wars or my personal plan for my house while I'm designing 3D. Of course, a cost-effective solution and ease of use. The last thing that designers and 3D designers and visual effects guys want is a new tool, new complicated tool to learn. So how do we achieve all these things? Basically, the speed, as we understand the rendering, takes computing power to run. It takes a lot. We need to provide a lot of computing power to achieve the first one. To work on their own computers, we need to provide a solution that doesn't require any remote desktop, and then protect them, something that doesn't cost too much and is easy to use. Look at the GPU. It's the unit that processes the rendering, and we all know, because of GPU mining, that it can cost up to $1,000, just one single GPU. The CGI industry is everywhere, as we said, advertising, product design, whatever if you look around, is in every single piece of communication. It's an industry that is going to hit almost 150 billions this year. And just to have an example, 75% of the IKEA catalog is CG. It's not real. This is not real. This is made by computer. I also know what kind of rendering engine is being used for this. It's called V-Ray. this is a company that we all know. This is not a photo. This is recreated by the computer. A white frame, just an example to understand what is the design before the rendering and then what's after. Okay, events, movies, of course, we know the movies. And this is 100% CG. The incredible level of details that we can achieve today, in the next 3 to 5 years, is going to be crazy, where the resolution, the level of details, the scale of the screen, and the experience of the viewer, and this will all require computing power, time to run rendering. This is not real image, this is CG. None of them are real. And that's the level, that's the incredible resolution that we can achieve. Who is using rendering? Who is using CGI? Most of the movie studios and the architectural design, because of course movie studios, but imagine that you are presenting a project, you want to show to your client how this final piece of real estate will look like. You want to be photorealistic, so architects are using a lot of CG, and then of course gaming and advertising. So they're all using cloud computing because you don't want to buy 2,000 GPUs and have them in the back of your office. If you are not Pixar, if you are not Disney, you have to render out and do something on probably AWS or Google, but this requires, as we said before, remote desktop on their server. And it's not really easy to use, and of course it's not super, super cost effective. So finally we got to the solution. Let's try to figure out how we can solve this with a software and an infrastructure. So the infrastructure, I will take the example of GIGA-WATT because GIGA-WATT is our first partner, the partner of Leonardo Render. So to achieve the speed, we start with 23,000 GPUs to speed up the rendering. It's just an alternative way of using GPU miners. We know that now GPU mining is not that profitable. I don't know how what's gonna happen next, but at the moment, if I can offer you a solution that gives you something like 10 times more what you make with Ethereum, you can probably say, okay, can I use this miner to run rendering? That's what we are doing with GIGA-WATT. We are offering them, and they are basically already our partner, to send rendering jobs, render for us, and then having them back. This is GIGA-WATT. Only in this photo we have 4,000 GPUs and the software. The software simply connects the user to the infrastructure. It's not only GIGA-WATT, it's a network of infrastructures all around the world, so that if you are in Georgia, you don't have to connect to GIGA-WATT, you just connect to the closest facility. And this network is growing exponentially because everybody with the GPU that is mining is not making probably any profit at the moment today. So they want to join the Leonardo network and run rendering with us. This is our software, very simple. You select the GPU that you want, you allocate them, and then you can close the software and run your 3D visual effects software. And what's going on is your software, instead of watching your internal GPUs, is watching the GIGA-WATT GPUs or other infrastructure GPUs and rendering in real time, super fast, and with a very, very interesting pricing that is, I'll tell you after this slide, just to explain that the user connects to our Leonardo backend, accessing the service, point to selecting the GPU that they want, and then the task goes to the miner inside the mining infrastructure. Now, here is GIGA-WATT, but can be any mining infrastructure around the world. As long as you have at least 50 GPUs, you can join our network and run rendering for us. The pricing is going to be up to 50% for the rendering client for 1 GPU for 1 hour. It depends on the power of the GPU that you are asking for. It can be 25 cents for a 4 gigabyte GPU. It can be 50 cents for an 8 or plus gigabyte GPU. This is a comparison of profitability rendering against mining Ethereum. This is updated a few days ago. I saw the difficulty going a little bit up, so I think this is going to be a little bit down. We are pricing the rendering service at 0.50 USD, and this will ensure a stable price, no fluctuation at all, because it's not connected to any cryptocurrency from the rendering side. And that's the comparison. It's 1,150% more than mining Ethereum. You can pay with any fiat vehicle. And then how to be part of the Leonardo Render? If you are a miner, we have the Leos token. So this token is a staking system. You want to join our network, you stake a piece of a number of tokens that is equal to a certain number of GPUs that you want to allocate for Leonardo Render, and then you keep them. As long as you keep them, you are inside our network. We want this for quality control, because let's say that our partner somewhere in the world with the GPU farm goes down with electricity. We will draw back the Leos tokens, and so you are out of the network. So you don't want that. So you make sure that your electricity and your entire service is running properly. This is our ICO, and since our product is already built, is already running, we already have clients rendering with us, everything will be dedicated to our second task. The first one was building the service. The second one is selling the rendering jobs. So we will be going from Hollywood to the smallest designer to sell our rendering service and make sure that all the miners of our system and network will have enough job for their initial investment. This is our roadmap. The only good news, the only change is a good news, because we were planning to have the starting beta test on August of this year. Instead, it's going to be ready in 2 weeks. I just received the call this morning, and the developer told us that we're going to be ready with the beta test in 2 weeks. What we are doing now, we are basically manually activating the rendering for our clients, but in 2 weeks, everything is going to be automated. Everything is going to fly from the client to the infrastructure in an automated way. And then Leonardo Lab at the very end of our roadmap, which will be the creative arm of Leonardo Render. We imagine this place where studios, movie studios, animation studios, architect, designer meet in one place to render with us. So why don't create a hub where these people can meet, share experience, share networks, exchange clients, and create something that looks like Leonardo Lab. And who knows where this can go. When creative meets, is always a surprise. This is our team. This is the New York team with the London Mess, which is here with us at this conference, together with Taylor, our project manager and account executive. Adrian Song is our chief of design and creative, and Marcin is our software developer. This is what we see in the future, a decentralized network of render farms around the world based on the power of the GPUs, the power of the GPU miners that at the moment are probably suffering a little bit, and we are offering a solution. Two unrelated things, the CGI industry and GPU mining, that are trying and will definitely solve a problem for both of them. Thank you. Thank you very much.